Good morning. And welcome to the Albany State University Lecture Series program. We are pleased that you decided to join us for this fine occasion. At this time, we will ask that all cell phones, pagers, and other electronic devices be silenced. We ask that all males remove all headwear. I am Erin Warren, a freshman pre-nursing major and a member of the Velma Fudge Grant Honors Program, and I will be presiding over this morning's program. We will begin our program with the introduction of the speakers by Mr. Evan Ridley, who is a sophomore healthcare management major and member of the Honors Program. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ridley to the podium. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Evan Ridley. I'm a 20-year-old sophomore healthcare management major from Lawrenceville, Georgia, and it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce our keynote speakers for this morning, Ms. Kirstie and Kristie Bronner. Ms. Kirstie Bronner and Ms. Kristie Bronner are powerful change agents in the lives of youth. Whether through music, public speaking, mentoring, or writing, they love to be God's hands and feet in the lives of people. In 2013, Kirstie and Kristie became nationally acclaimed as co-valedictorians of Spelman College with matching 4.0 grade point averages. Their stories have been featured in numerous media sources, including ABC World News with Diane Sawyer, Fox and Friends TV, Fox 5 TV, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Essence Magazine, Ebony Magazine, National Public Radio, Radio 1, and Emory University's radio. Now please join me in welcoming our keynote speakers for this morning, Ms. Kirstie and Kristie Bronner.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kirstie Bronner, and I'm Kirstie Bronner, and we're so glad to be with you all this morning, especially, so everybody's a freshman in here, right? For the most part, this is like a freshman assembly or something. So we remember so clearly when we were freshmen, and you know, everybody's different. So of course, some people, they think about college and it's like, oh man, I'm going out to be independent, I'm gonna do my own thing, I'm getting out of the house, and you know, they think about the parties, and it's like, man, I'm about to meet all these people, and then other people start off, and they're all nervous, oh man, this is so scary, oh, it's a whole new world, a whole new life, I'll never be able to be a kid again, you know, it's like everybody starts off totally differently, and so for us, we actually started off as the kind of freshmen who were, I mean, it wasn't so much of the transition of leaving home was that big of a deal, but it was just the transition of college and the time management. It's like, oh man, so much to do, so little time, there's always something that I need to do. And so we were nervous and we were scared, and that's why we feel like what God has taught us over those 4 years, you know, is what we put in our book, Double Vows, the keys to success in college and life beyond, because we really felt like even though we started off nervous and as a result of that, we ended up being like studyaholics because we felt like, man, I gotta do that, I don't know. You know, it's like all of the I don't knows and the doubts, the what ifs made us kind of overwork to the point where we really needed to work on balance. And you know, in our book we talk about balance because almost everybody starts off balance. Usually it's off balance on the side of partying all the time, but like, okay, my grades are slipping, I think I need to do a little bit better with the schoolwork. For us, it was heavy on the academic side, and then having to relax and take time for rest and relaxation more. But everybody needs those things with balance. So regardless as to how you started off, we're going to leave you with an acronym today that is going to help you so that you don't feel like by the end of your 4 years that, man, I wept all the way through school, I just wept. We're going to give you an acronym called WEP, but the hood version of it, W-E-P, not W-E-P-T, and just a way to remember some really, really key things. So a little bit about us. We, like he said, we graduated last year in 2013 as a double valedictorian to Spelman College. We were together all the way through school because we had the same major, and basically we both got all A's throughout school. And Of course, that's not really something that we thought would happen in the beginning, but over time of just doing these different things throughout school, that God taught us more and more, and doing our best all the way through a lot of prayer and hard work and strategy. One day we just woke up and it's like, wow, like we really made it to senior year still with our 4.0s. Praise God. And so ever since then, we have been serving at Word of Faith Family Worship Cathedral. We work there as, we were first the youth event coordinators, and we have a mentoring program called Elite 31 for high school girls. We just opened up our college section, which our mother, who's standing right here, if you would stand up, she's also a Spelman graduate, and travels with us wherever we go, and we just want to say thank you, Mother. She's always such the best. And we also have our assistant, Danielle Washington. Please stand up. She's a Spelman graduate as well. Goes with us everywhere that we go. And so we have Elite 31, our mentoring program. We do pretty much everything youth at our church. So we do like Friday night socials, where it's like we say that we feed you spiritually, socially, and physically. So free food, open mic talent show or something like that, and worship. And I'm forgetting out some other stuff. Philin, what else do we do? We plan these really big youth conferences. Started off while we were in college during our summer times after sophomore year. And so the first one, we were shocked. It was a ticketed event. 500 young people showed up. The next year, 700. The following, 900. And then this past year, 1,300 young people. So that is a little bit of why we were hired as the youth event coordinators when we graduated. And then we also are the youth pastors now, so we have services on Thursday nights, and we teach young people from middle school all the way through young adult ages. We do a lot of inspirational speaking because ever since we were in the media last year about all of this, being the double valedictorians and having 4.0s, then we've been invited to a lot of schools from elementary all the way through college. We speak at a lot of mentoring programs, churches, a lot of different places. So that's what we spend our time doing, is mentoring, speaking, ministering, promoting our book, and we lead a youth praise team, a youth band, a 150 voice youth choir. We were music majors in school, so we sing and we teach and we just love it. So you see why I slip my mind, because I always forget, like, okay, what else we do? Because it's kind of a lot of different things, but that's another thing we talk about in our book, is really how school prepared us for real life. You know, when we were at Spelman, we were music majors, like she said, and at Spelman, then the majors that have the most classes they have to take are the biology majors and the music majors. So for us, like, people were like, why are you taking 9 classes? Like, we were always taking somewhere between 8 and 10 classes pretty much our entire time there. We were juggling so many different things. We were in the Spelman College Glee Club there, voice lessons, everything. And so between that and then teaching Sunday school at the church, which we were doing at the time, and then, I mean, we gave probably about 10 hours a week or more to the Glee Club every week, and then we were at church every Sunday, most of the time every Thursday we could make it, and teaching Sunday school on Sundays, and doing a bunch of stuff with Glee Club, pop-up performances here and there, you know, and taking 9 classes at the same time. It was really, really heavy and hectic, but so many of the things that, even the stuff we complained about throughout school, like, popped up in our lives later on, like, wow, like, it all worked together, and it really was preparation. Like, for example, in the Glee Club, then I was student conductor, and she was the chaplain, and now in the 150 voice youth choir that we teach, I do all the conducting, and she does all the praying. I'm just kidding. But it's so interesting to watch how everything just works out. So we're going to start off with the acronym. She's going to tell you about the W. So, like she said, we do not want you to make it through college and then even through life and then be like, you know what, I just wept. It was a horrible thing that go the way I dreamed when I was a child, and I just wept. Well, we're going to teach you how, when you say, I wept my way through college and I wept my way through life, how that is a positive thing. So I want you to turn to your neighbor and say, I'm about to wet my way through college. Say it with some authority. I'm about to wet my way through college. The W stands for apply your hearts to wisdom. The W is wisdom. Well, when you think about it, raise your hand if you've learned a lot in your life. Raise your hand if you have read books in your life. Raise your hand if you've been to some seminars or conferences. Raise your hand if you've been to classes. So we've all been presented with a pretty good amount of knowledge in our lives, right? Raise your hand if you've applied everything you've been taught. Probably not. I want you to think about what would your life look like if you actually used every bit of advice that you were given, if you actually applied all of the knowledge that you've been given, if you actually let the things sink into your mentality, into your thinking, instead of just pass in one ear and out of the other. If you actually applied your heart to wisdom, then raise your hand if there were some people you would not have been hanging out with. You know, I knew that person, they always pressured me to do the wrong thing. I just knew it. But I did it because I felt like it. I did it because I wanted to. Raise your hand if you made a lot of mistakes and you knew it was a mistake before you made it. We have to learn to apply our hearts to wisdom. You know, raise your hand if you've ever gotten on your teacher's bad side, not necessarily on purpose, but you know, nobody wants to raise their hand on that. But I'll tell you that if you apply your hearts to wisdom, you'll be the kind of student that every teacher wants. And I know that a lot of times teachers don't want to admit it, but in our freshman year, there was one teacher who decided, you know what, I'm just going to tell all y'all the truth. Teachers, we talk about you. We talk about you with each other. When we're eating lunch, we're talking about you. Before you get to our class, we already know what your reputation is from the other teachers. And he told us, he said, if you actually act right, I will help you. He said, if you don't, if you come to class late and you don't turn in your assignments and you don't actually study, I am not going to help you. And he said a lot of these other teachers, they're all thinking the same thing and they're just not going to tell you. But I'm telling you that I can either help you or not. And it all depends upon your attitude. So then all of us were like, man, thanks for the heads up. Yeah. You know, but surprisingly, you would think everybody would actually turn in their assignments after that. No. So even though he did give us a punishment paper because of what some of the people in the class did. So he gave us 2 days to do a 7-page research paper, which is our first paper in college. So we're like, I don't even know where the library is. Going there, librarian, please, where do I go? What do I do? But anyway, so the class did the paper except for a few people. Everybody else came in with their hair sticking up and their eyes bloodshot red. Here it is. It was 8 o'clock a.m. class. And then a few students just didn't do it. And he was like, why didn't you do your assignment? I didn't have enough time. I just didn't finish it. And so he just F, from then on, those kids just had an F on their forehead. You know, and so other people, he actually would try to help them if they were struggling, but they would, you know, show that they were trying and they would actually work hard. And so if we even applied our hearts to wisdom, you know, you should want to be the student who sits on the front row, who actually pays attention, who actually asks questions, who actually shows interest in the course topics, who works hard, who, you know, raise your hand if you've ever had, I'm not saying anyone here at ASU, but if in the past you've had a teacher that was not a very good teacher. Yes, we do come across some of those. And so is that an excuse for you to fail? Absolutely not. There was one teacher that everyone said no one makes an A out of his class. He's very, very hard and he doesn't know how to teach. And so we go to his class and he's giving homework based on information that he has not taught us. So the rest of the kids, they come, well, this is college, so the rest of the young people, they come to the class next day, you know, turning in their homework, and you can imagine what kind of grades they got. Me and Kirstie, on the other hand, applied our hearts to wisdom. If you don't know, ask. So we just followed him down to his office, knocked on the door, and they were like, hey, can you help us out with this? We didn't go down there with an attitude like, you didn't even teach this. How you going to expect me to know what you didn't even teach? We just said, can you help me out with this? And he's like, okay, sure. So we go in, he's trying to explain, he's like, you understand now? No. And then he explained some more. Do you get it now? No. We stayed in there until we finally got it, until he explained it in a different way where we could understand it. And then guess who got 100s on their homework the next day? Was that an accident? No. But sometimes we have to make sure we even use all the resources that are available to us, like writing centers, like tutoring, whatever it may be, because sometimes there are weaknesses that you have. Like, raise your hand if you cannot stand math. Then is that an excuse to fail math class? No. Applying your heart to wisdom is something that's very important, not just in your academics, but in your life. Like I mentioned, the people that you hang out with. Guess what? People in your life are like elevator buttons. They take you up, they take you down, or they get you stuck. And we all have that choice. Life is full of choices, and oftentimes we've been given enough good advice in our lives that we know what the right choice is, and we knowingly make the wrong one. Based upon how we feel at the time, based upon what we desire, and sometimes those desires are based off our immaturity or even based off our own laziness. But if we think about a very, very simple principle of just using wisdom, of paying now and playing later, then we will go a whole lot further, not just in school, but even in life after school, when we learn that kind of self-discipline where we do what we need to do now, and then we can do what we want to do later on. So the W is wisdom, and the E is excellence. So I want you to think about, sometimes you literally can have somebody standing next to you. One person is doing extremely well, the other person is doing poorly. They both know the exact same information, but like she said, you have to apply your hearts to wisdom, because we all raise our hands, yeah, I've been to this, yeah, I know that. A lot of us have so much knowledge, but we don't necessarily apply it, and the difference in the results that people get is not necessarily what this person knew that the other one didn't know, but it's really about the fact that this person applied what they both knew and the other person just sat on it. The reason why we even wrote a book is because senior year of college, we took a teacher and she told everybody to ask 3 people, what is it that you would do if you fulfilled your greatest potential? So think about the fact that everybody has some really, really awesome potential. Everybody has a lot. If you are a human being moving and breathing, even if you are in a wheelchair, you have a whole bunch of potential in what one human being can do. You can look at the power of one by looking at so many different people that you admire, people that you're reading about in history books, people, even some of you parents, you look at what is the power of one, the power that what just one person can do. So you know how much potential there is in the human life, especially when you take the human life coupled with God, then you get some extraordinary results. There's so much that you can do, but what is it that you actually do? So when we asked these different people, then one thing that they all had in common that we did not have on our list of to do after college was write a book. And when they said write a book, we were like, wow, okay, I never really thought about it like that. But we were like, we knew immediately what it would be about. That whatever it is that God has given us, then we may as well just give it back. And we were actually at Spelman after graduation, after we'd written the book. We went back for a Glee Club reunion, and we were in the lobby, and this lady came up to us, and this is just to show you, this is a big reason why people actually don't live up to their greatest potential, because of fear, because of doubt, or well, what if I think it's good but other people don't? What if I think I'm tapping into my potential and doing something, but then somebody else thinks that it's just average and I should have just kept it to myself? myself. And what we say is just use it. Because at the end of it all, then do you want to be the one where God is like, well done, my good and faithful servant. Enter now into the joy of the Lord, that you've actually used every gift and talent that I've given you. Use it whether you think that it's amazing or not. Just use it. I mean, it wouldn't really hurt to just use it. So anyway, this lady came up to us, and we were sitting at the desk selling our books, and she walks up and she just looks at it and she was like, you guys wrote a book? And we were like, yes. So she was like, what made you think that you know enough to write a book? What do you know? And she was like laughing in our faces like, what do you know? Like the audacity of you to write a book and you're this young. Thing is, of course, she didn't write a book. I bet you that she had potential. I bet you that she had so many things in her life over the time that she had lived that she really could have written a book on any kind of subject. You know, it could be her life testimony. She could have written a book, but did she? No. But people are very, very quick to lash out, you know, at somebody else who did tap into their potential. That is the only reason why we even wrote it, is to tap into our potential, to do something with what we have been given. Hey, if it's not a bestseller one day, at least we'll have it. At least our children's children and all down the eternity, they will be able to be like, oh, this book my great-great-great-great-great-grandmama wrote. And something they will be able to use for their guide throughout school if nobody else wants it, that we actually use it. So when you think about what are the fruits of actually applying your heart to wisdom, it is excellence. The people who get a whole lot of excellent results are the people who aimed really, really high. The people who aimed for the stars even when everybody else thought that it looked crazy, when they thought that it wasn't going to be good enough. The people, like the reason why, a big reason why we even did so well throughout school, even though we weren't necessarily aiming to be double valedictorians, we were just aiming to do our best with every single assignment, which ended up being our best every single day. And those days added up to a whole lot. One single assignment. We treated no assignment like it was less than the next one. We didn't do like other students looking at the syllabus and saying, oh, well, this one is worth 20% of my grade. This one is worth 5%. I'm going to just throw something together for the 5% and work really hard on the 20%. We gave each and every assignment the equal weight, equal quality, so that when our teachers would look at our stuff, they didn't even have to read it before they knew it would be quality. To say, you know what, well, everything they produce is quality. They never half do anything. You want to be that kind of excellent person where people, before they even hear what you have to say, it's like, oh, well, I know it's going to be awesome because he always does a good job. When you have a reputation like that, and then it precedes you and it opens up doors of opportunity for you just because you always just do your best. And really, when you think about it, it's not because you're smarter than everybody around you. It's not like, I'm telling you, like, I know a guy, he went to Emory University. He was so, like, naturally smart. He was the type where he didn't really have to do a whole lot of studying and he could get an A. I mean, he could not do a lot of studying and get a B+, and then with studying, get 100 on a lot of stuff. We got hundreds on a lot of our stuff because we aimed for 100, so we prepared for the 100. We did a lot of studying. We did the strategy. We did the hard work. He, on the other hand, if he didn't do anything, he could probably get a B+. If he did a little bit of studying, he could get an A. The reason why he didn't have a 4.0 is because he did not aim for it. So it's not about us being smarter than him, because I'm telling you, I really believe he was more naturally smart than we were. But the reason he did not have a 4.0 is because he did not work for it. He did not aim for it. He did not do his best on everything. So when you come out with excellent results, it's a lot of times because you actually did your best, and everything that you did, not the fact that you were just naturally better than everybody else, that, ooh, I just came out the womb like this, I guess God just gave it to me like that. You know, it's the fact that you worked for it. When you really do put forward your best, even as a freshman, when you first come in, like starting off with your best is like what she said, coming into the classroom, sitting on the front row every day, asking questions. I want you to think about the fact that we talk about in our book how teachers are people too, and everybody, every single teacher, public speaker, all over, they love the student that will sit on the front row, look them in their eyes, give a nice little nod, like, I hear you. You're saying some great stuff. It doesn't matter whether it's great or not. Act like it's great for your grade. You know, like, you need to make teachers feel good about themselves. That is a part of being a good audience member, is that somebody can look at it. I want everybody to just practice a little bit. Just You're saying some good stuff. Just give me a good nod, a good smile, some eye contact. Everybody loves that. Every teacher loves that. You know, as part of doing your best, when you start off, you can just do simple stuff like that. You're taking notes, sending the messages that I value the information that you are giving to me. And then go home and what? Study your notes. You know, you get to class early. Instead of talking to somebody, the excellent student who does their best and fulfills their greatest potential gets to class early and they actually study their notes instead of just having regular conversation 24/7. So let's recap so far. The W is wisdom, which of course we meant to mention. Applying your heart to wisdom, you got to get that wisdom on in you. So you have to make sure to get this book. This book will teach you not only how to get and maintain a 4.0 GPA, but also how to live a balanced life, how to use the time that most people waste. Teaches dynamic time management, how you can juggle a lot of different balls and be excellent in them. It teaches you how to really make a schedule. In this book, the reason it says in the keys to success in college and life beyond is because it teaches how the same principles that you learn or should have learned to apply in college to be excellent and successful are the things that you will need to apply after college and how those things apply. So it teaches any person. There are plenty of adults who read the book and they say it really helps them to live a more productive, balanced, organized, disciplined life. And of course, when you learn what balance is, you'll learn that that doesn't mean that you're going around miserable because you're doing nothing but working. You know, life is a journey. And so you have to learn how to really appreciate that journey and make the most out of it. So the W is wisdom. The E is excellence. And the P is purpose. God has created each and every one of us with a purpose. Of course, all of us are meant to glorify God, but He put unique gifts and talents on the inside of us. And the reason that we come to college is not just to be a bunch of educated eggheads, but to actually be able to be molded, to be able to gain the tools that we need to accomplish our purpose. God has given each of us a purpose, and it doesn't matter how young or how old we are, we all have a purpose that we are meant to fulfill. And if we live this life without fulfilling that purpose, then we didn't live. We merely existed. So we have to all, if we don't know what our purpose is, of course, seek the one who created you. And you think of him like the inventor. He made the invention. Who knows better how the invention functions than the one who made it? And so we were praying our whole lives, Lord, what do you want us to do? What is our purpose? You know, it was 5 of us kids in our family. And so then people would go down the line asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? And what do you want to be when you grow up? And what do you want to be? And so then our oldest sister, I want to be a music teacher. And the next teacher, and the next sister, I want to be a best-selling author. And then our brother, I want to be a speaker and all this. And then get to me and Kirstie, we're like, then later on we were like, maybe we should start saying, I don't know. And then after that, then we were like, housewife. And then we realized, I don't think people respond to that one. I don't know if that, but we realized that, man, we don't know what we are going to do. And people told us, just pray about it, pray about it. We're like, I've been praying about it for years and I still don't know. So then we were about to go off to Spelman and our major said undecided. And then we decided to major in music because we're like, we've been singing since we were little. Maybe we'll do something with that. Maybe we'll teach a choir one day. And so we started majoring in music. The first day I was like, clearly not for me. The music majors and biology majors have more classes they're required to take than anyone. So the first day of class, my first day, went to 7 classes. One of them was 0 credits. They said you have to make 2 websites, a public website, a private assessment website. I was like, I don't even have a Facebook. What do you mean make 2 websites for 0 credits? And so the first day I was sitting there crying, not in front of anybody, of course. But then I went and called Mama. I was like, Mama, I can't do it. College is not for me. I think I'm coming back home or finding a different major. Something's clue in those early freshman year stages when we were so scared and unsure. We had no clue what we would be doing after college, had no clue God would open all the doors that he did. But what we did do was we applied our hearts to wisdom. We didn't go to college to find ourselves. We knew who we were in God. So we didn't have to lose ourselves really in the opinions of everybody else. Because when you go somewhere trying to find yourself, you'll really only lose yourself, because then you'll try to conform to who somebody else tells you should be, or because of who they are, the pressures they put upon you, and then you become somebody that you were never meant to be in the first place. So we have to first find who we are in God and walk strong in our identity. Apply your hearts to wisdom, doing the things, the wisdom that your parents told you that you should do. Go ahead and just do it. Actually, a lot of people say, it is so terrible stereotype. If you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. Why don't we start reading some books? Why don't we read the Bible? I'm just saying. Anyway, but when you really gather all this wisdom and not just have this sitting there as knowledge, but really use it, and then when you live your life with excellence, we decided that we were going to do all that we did to the glory of God. And so it's like, whatever we were doing, whether we were in the glee club, even when we didn't want to be there because we were required to be there because of our major, and it was so time consuming, we didn't want to be there, but we gave it our best. Because you have to go ahead and remind yourself that I was created by an excellent God, and I was created in His image. That means I am excellent, and what I produce should be excellent. Everything you should produce should be excellent, and you should always try your best, but know that His grace is sufficient for you. There were also times that we had straight up miracles, things that we didn't even know on the test, because it's like the teacher said, study this, and that, and we studied the this, and that, and then she put things that were not in the book on the test, not as multiple choice, not as matching, but as you have to write out all the answers. And we're sitting here like, I have no clue at all. And then sitting there, Lord, help me. I tried my best, not being the kind of student that goes in the testing situation of, Lord, help me, God, if you do this for me, I'll save you forever. No. We studied, we prayed before we studied, before we read, before we started writing a paper. We included Him in the process. And then there are some things that we just can't know every single word in every single book. But when we try our best and then we pray our hardest, then miracles can happen. So that even in that testing situation, He gave me and her the answers word for word. And God helped us both to get 100s on those tests when there were questions that we had no clue of the answer and had to write it out, and they ended up being word for word responses. So God can help you in whatever it is that you need to do, even to excel. And so we never have to be scared when really trusting God, the one who put us on this earth for a purpose. And so even when bad things happen and things arise, like one day when we came outside to go to our 9 a.m. class and our car was missing with all of our textbooks and our notes about a month before finals. And we're like, oh, Father. And then, at first we were tempted to just freak out, but then we're like, you know what? The Lord is the one that created us. He created us with a purpose. He's the one who knows everything, controls everything, so He'll work it out. So we just called somebody, got a ride to school. Then He ended up blessing us, had other students, gave us textbooks for the classes. Very expensive textbooks, completely for free. Got rides from people we never thought we would even be spending time with. And He just even used people to show us so much love. But when you really do walk in that purpose, and sometimes even when you don't know what it is, you know that if you apply your heart to wisdom, all the things you already know to do, like right now as a student, be the best student you can possibly be. God will open doors. There are even teachers that tell us, I'll recommend you for anything. And some of those we actually have to call on up. But the thing is, be the best you that you can be. Apply your heart to wisdom. Live in excellence, because nobody wants to be average. Average is not admirable. Average is being the bottom of the top and the top of the bottom, and nobody wants that. So we should all live in excellence. And like I said, whether you understand exactly what your purpose is as far as what you're going to do with the gifts that you have, do your very best with everything that is in your hands now. If you're in some kind of organization, be the best in that organization. Me and Kirstie in the Glee Club, even when we were not on the executive board, some people thought we were on the executive board because we behaved the way that the leadership should behave, the way that everyone in the organization should behave, as if we own the organization. We did everything that was required of us and over and beyond. Be your absolute best. Be that person that is so excellent that people look at you and they want to promote you and they want to help you and they want to give you opportunities because you're already walking on that level of excellence. And when you're walking with God and you don't know exactly where it is that you're supposed to be going, but you're doing the best you can do with what you're given, I want you to think of yourself like you're blindfolded, but you're holding God's hand, and so He'll put one foot in front of the other, in front of the other, and you don't have to be scared, because would He really lead you off a cliff somewhere? No. So then one day you just look up, and then it's like, wow, how did I get here? And it's because you trusted God, you applied your heart to wisdom, you did everything that you could do in excellence, really acknowledging that, you know what, I was not put here just to exist, but to live with a purpose.
All right, so I know we're running short on time. Do we have any burning questions? They said there's a microphone over here that you can approach if you have any questions. Don't be scared.
There's a question here.
Yes.
I just want to say I really enjoyed y'all's lecture.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was our pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us.
Were there any classes that you guys took in high school that prepared you for college? Like, did you guys take AP classes or anything like that in college?
Well, we were
high school.
We were actually homeschooled, and the program that we were homeschooled with was extremely accelerated. Like for us, a 93 was a B already, and so so a lot of our classes, although we didn't take AP classes, because I don't even know if that existed in the program, we took like a lot of, pretty much almost everything was advanced. So yes.
I mean, like when it was the day for the teachers to review for the test, one of our teachers, he would just say, go through all of the information with a fine-tooth comb. So we just had to know everything. And it taught us how to really study. Because if we didn't study in that program, it was not going to be pretty.
We were working longer hours than all of our friends in public school and private school. So it was a really rigorous program, but it prepared us a lot. Any other questions?
Oh, hi. Stand up. Hi.
Hi.
Were there any obstacles y'all faced during high school and college? Like any hard things y'all have to deal with?
Absolutely. We had a very, very heavy workload. That was very, very difficult, but even while we were in college, we were living very close to Spelman's campus, which is, if you've ever been there, it's the hood. And so it was, and when I say the hood, I mean the hood. I mean like we're doing our homework and we hear pop, 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 and it is not 4th of July, you know? And so that is actually where our car got stolen from. It was a very interesting experience. College was a growing experience for us in many, many aspects, but the main thing that we battled was stress. The hardest thing for us to overcome was stress. We didn't have parents who put like these expectations upon us where you get an A or you get B. You know, we didn't have that, but we had certain expectations for ourselves, and God really had to teach us that you do not have to be perfect. all the time, and you do not have to know everything. I will help you. I will lead you and guide you. So stress was something we had to overcome, because when we started off college, our immune systems were weakened. We were sick the whole semester. I mean, just coughing all the time, just because we were just that stressed out. And so stress was the biggest obstacle that we faced.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. I'm a faculty member and a member of the administration, and I have received so much from your lectures, so thanks so much. When you are in a position where you want to do the least, what do you use as motivation? What gets you out of that funk and gets you moving? Because I think all of us at some point will be where we don't want to do anything. What do you do to help you get out of that? Thank you.
Well, I think for me, a lot of the times, like she said, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. You know, they say like you're your own worst critic, and the Bible says that a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. I truly believe that, because a lot of times it is that name that ends up going before you and opening up doors for you, or closing doors for you. Because even though everybody would like to think, oh, we shouldn't judge, you need to get to know them first. The truth of the matter is that people will listen to what other people have said about you before they ever meet you, or before they ever get to know you. Sometimes when they meet you, they already have these preconceived notions in their heads and these assumptions, whatever it is that somebody else has said about you. So a lot of times when I really don't feel like working hard, when I really don't feel like it, I think about, I need to maintain this standard. I need to maintain this good name. Like, what would my teacher think if I turned in an assignment half done? What is my teacher going to think of me? When they're looking down at that paper, they're going to shake their heads in disappointment. Like, man, I thought she would do better than this. I'm surprised at her. I never wanted anybody to say about me, I'm surprised at you. Like, even in their minds, they didn't have to say it to my face. I didn't even want them in their minds to look at what I have produced and say, man, I'm surprised at her. I thought she would have done better. Because I've seen people do that over time. I'm sure we've all seen somebody say that about someone at some point. Man, I'm surprised at you. I thought you would do better than that. And even though you may think, well, it's just schoolwork, it is, when you're a student, that is the only thing that represents you, is your schoolwork. And of course, to your peers and all that, then your personality and those things. But when it comes down to your teachers and especially if you have passionate teachers and they're giving their all, or even if they're not passionate, then I'm a teacher. This is what I do. So as even something of respect to this person, this is their profession. This is what they have chosen to give their time to and their life to. You, as an act of respect, be the best student that you possibly can be, with a reputation of excellence that, man, she really puts her best foot forward. So it's like in those times of, like, because I definitely had times when it was late at night, I was like, man, what if I just stop? What if I just turn in like this? If I just go ahead and click send, and then I can just get in the bed. It's just that simple. Like, what's holding me back? What is stopping me from go to sleep? And I just could not get that out of my head. What would my teacher think about this poor quality work?
And also, when you already have a schedule set in place, it's like you have to think of it like non-negotiable. So it's like I've already scheduled the hours and the day before the day starts, and I already know that this is not governed based upon my feelings. This is just what I am going to do. You tell yourself, it is not an option for me. Whether it's that some of us have books that we need to write, but we have full-time jobs. We schedule those hours that we are going to work on whatever it is that we need to get that step closer, walking in our fullest potential and our purpose. So when we schedule that time is non-negotiable. It is not an option. So sometimes what we have to do when we feel so discouraged is just take a little break, just say, whew. What is it that most relaxes me? I can, make a phone call, have some cackles for 15 minutes. I can, a lot of times we'd advise don't turn on the TV. That could be the whole hour episode and you did not plan a whole hour to be away. But something that relaxes you, for some people it might be painting or, playing a game or something like that. and then you just take a little 15-minute power break or sometimes 15-minute power nap. And I encourage you, when you apply your heart to wisdom, when a nap is your break, make sure that your alarm is not next to your bed. You have to get up in order to turn off your alarm, and your alarm is very annoying. It's not, here I am. You have to apply your heart to wisdom in everything, but sometimes you have to pull back and take a little break, get yourself recharged, go off and pray, whatever you need to do, and get your mind right. And then so let me get back to this schedule. This is not an option for me. I know the Lord's going to help me with it. Let me get some energy back. Sometimes go eat something, but sometimes you have to take a little break because your mind can be so fried that whatever it is you're trying to do, you're unproductive if you continue in that mindset. So you just have to take a little break and then get back to the schedule that you've already established.
So afterwards, if you have any further questions, we'll be at the table to sign your books or ask your questions. But thank you so much, Ms. Harvey. Thank you so much, everyone responsible for inviting us. And thank you all for your wonderful attention, these attentive faces, and the smiles, and the eye contact. We appreciate you, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, ladies. It has been an absolute joy, and I'm full, and I've been enlightened, and I'm sure that the students have. Before we get ready to close with our program and do closing remarks, I would like to share a little something with you. We know you're Spelmanites, and we love you all the same, but know that you have another family that you can come to, and know that you are always welcome as honorary Rams, and we appreciate you sharing with our students today and coming and presenting our campus. That being said, students, I want to thank you all for coming and, like they said, being attentive. I hope that you all received some enlightening information. I know that you did. Before we close out, I want to remind you to save on your calendars October the 7th. That's the next time we'll meet in this assembly like this, and you will get with your instructor. They'll have details about the next assembly. But that being said, we have a little bit of a giveaway that we have planned for everyone by way of books. Books are going to be available. The first set of books will be giveaway books, but then after that there are books available for purchase as well as CDs, I believe, that are available for purchase.
Is it $5?
$10, 10 even, and they take. Do have a card swipe and do take cash. If you're not fortunate enough to win a free book, you're welcome to purchase some, and I'm sure that they have some words of wisdom. This says double vows, the keys to success, to not just college but beyond, and I know that it'll be something fruitful for each of you. So that being said, if everybody will hold their evaluation, you got an evaluation when you came in. We need you to complete that if you would. Please complete the evaluation so we'll know what type of speakers you like, what you want to see, who you want us to bring, who will challenge you and motivate and inspire you. But it serves another purpose today. If you look on the back of your evaluation, if you see a blue sticker, you are a prize winner today. If you have a blue sticker, you get a book. So,